For the fourth time in a European final, a German team will face off against a French team. It's Bayern versus PSG, and I'm Adrian from Rabona TV. Unintentional rhyme. I hope you are well. I hope you have been enjoying this Champions League tournament from beautiful Lisbon, Portugal. And let's look at this final. We'll take time to focus on each team, their history in the tournament, and then get to the final itself to give you a well-rounded preview. Oh, you just want a 10 to 20 second video with my pick and that's it? No. We don't do that here. We like added context, man. All right, let's go. When it comes to PSG and European success, you have to go back to the 90s and also change competitions around a bit. They won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup back in the 95-96 season when PSG were at one of their strongest points in time. The season prior, they had their best ever Champions League run as they made the semi-finals of the Champions League. But other than that, there's not much to speak of in regard to PSG's European pedigree, as they have only recently had more legitimate, regular participation in the Champions League. Bayern, on the other hand, well, as you know, they are one of the most storied clubs in the world, having won the European Cup on 5 occasions, and were runners-up on 5 occasions as well. Their last victory, of course, was back in the 2012-13 season, where they beat Borussia Dortmund 2-1 in the Champions League final at Wembley, Lewandowski missing out against his future team. Other than that, Bayern's domination was in the 70s, mostly. But since that 2013 final that they won, Bayern have been close, but not close enough, making the semi-finals in 4 of the last 6 seasons. PSG had a similar struggle since the takeover by their Qatari owners in 2011. They made the quarterfinals 4 times, the round of 16 3 times, and this, of course, is their best campaign and their first ever Champions League final. The Parisians have been quite good in this Champions League tournament as they coasted through the group stage. Then after a tough first leg away to Dortmund in the round of 16, they looked like a unified bunch to turn things around at home in Paris. They had a long layoff prior to playing Atalanta, in which they completed their domestic treble, and they certainly looked rusty against the Italian side. Navas had to make a few big saves, while Neymar spurned a few great opportunities, but they made it through right at the death. Thankfully for their fans, they looked much better up against RB Leipzig. Leipzig didn't offer much of a fight in the attack, while PSG's attacking trident of Neymar, Mbappe, and Di Maria looked lethal. The latter, especially. Di Maria was brilliant on the night, and has proven once again that he is a big game performer, especially in this competition. He had done it for Real Madrid in the past, and he has done it time and time again for PSG as well. He's one of the keys to this final, if you ask me, as his trickery and delivery will be vital to PSG's chances. Neymar and Mbappe are, of course, lethal in their own right. Neymar has struggled big time with his finishing in the last couple of matches, but his ability with the ball at his feet and his passing are still at elite levels. That little flick for PSG's second goal, oh my goodness, beautiful. Mbappe is still quite clearly trying to shake the rust off, as he was injured for a while, but if he is on his game against Bayern, with the way that both Neymar and Di Maria have been playing, oh my gosh, watch out. As for the midfield, this is where the conundrum lies for Thomas Tuchel. Leandro Paredes was solid against RB Leipzig and showed how much of an asset he is with his passing ability in that midfield. He can spray the ball around nicely, get it beyond the opposing back line for the attackers to run onto. He's an asset. Herrera is full of hustle and the occasional threaded pass, and Marquinhos, arguably the man of the match against Leipzig, as he was everywhere defensively, breaking up play, and scored that lovely opener to boot. And so, the problem, well, that lies within Marco Verratti being fit enough to make an appearance against Leipzig, because Verratti, of course, is PSG's best midfielder, and do you start him in the final? And if so, at the expense of who? The way I see it, Marquinhos is undroppable, and Paredes could be useful if Bayern play a high line. More on that later. So that means Herrera sits for Verratti, assuming he's fit enough to play. And as for the back line, PSG have defended quite brilliantly at times, certainly against RB Leipzig, where all of the saves that Sergio Rico had to make were quite tame. The rest were blocked by Thiago Silva or Kimpembe, the former having a great swan song in what will be his final matches for PSG, his final being the final of the Champions League. Kerrer does a job, and Bernat, for me at least, is a decent defender but offers more to PSG's attack than their defense, roving forward to combine with Neymar or Mbappe on the left. Another question will be whether Keylor Navas will be fit enough for the final. As of now, at the time of recording this, RMC Sports said that he will be fit, but we'll have to wait and see the team sheet on Sunday. You never know. Overall, this is probably the best PSG side we've seen, in my opinion, ever, and they're going to be a handful for Bayern. Speaking of which, Bayern have been storming through this competition, scoring tons of goals and winning everything. They have won every single match in this competition, as they have equaled the record set by themselves back in 2013 with 10 consecutive wins. On the same kind of form as 2013, huh? Good omen, I guess. Bayern made relatively light work of Chelsea, 7-1 on aggregate, and shoveled even more dirt onto Barcelona as they were already laying in their shallow grave of a season. Against Lyon, they met one of their toughest opponents in some time, and even so, the match still ended at a comfortable 3-0. However, in the first 15 minutes of that match, Lyon could have found themselves 2-0 up if it wasn't for some incredible goalkeeping from Manuel Neuer to give Memphis Depay nothing but the side netting to aim at, as you can see here. And then, of course, there was Akanji hitting the post. That was cruel for Lyon, as they did well to take advantage of some slightly sloppy play, uncharacteristically sloppy play from Thiago in midfield, many misplaced passes in the first 30 minutes or so, and 2, they took advantage of Bayern's high line very well. If not for a great interception from Boateng at one point, then Akanji may have made it 1-0 from a squared cornet ball. But from there, as Bayern started to settle into the match more and more, after Gnabry cut in from the wing to hit that screamer on his weak foot, it just didn't feel like Lyon would come back from that. And I mean, credit to Lyon, as they held Bayern to just 3 goals, as this Rudy Garcia side is basically set up to frustrate teams, as they did against Juve and City. Their main goal is to not concede, and then to pick their moments to hurt you on the counter. They did that well in the first 15, but Bayern's class came through in the end. It worked well against Juventus and City, but Bayern is another kettle of fish entirely. By the way, while Bayern has won 10 out of 10 matches, Lyon only won 4 out of their 10 Champions League matches. They had a great run. It was a great story for them to beat City, but the best team made it to the final, it has to be said. And speaking of Bayern and their high line, as mentioned earlier, we saw that it was a problem for them early on against Lyon, as Lyon found themselves with 2 great opportunities within the first 15 minutes. At this point, a lot of people in the watch-along chat were saying, "Oh man, this will be a big problem against PSG," and I agree, the high line could be a big problem against PSG. It definitely has the potential to be a problem with the PSG attackers. But at the same time, you didn't see that continue to be a problem throughout the match. As Bayern adjusted, they took off Boateng for the much more rapid Niklas Süle, and Lyon's opportunities to run in behind the Bayern back line were less and less. But if PSG is to start someone like Leandro Paredes, a man who can thread a beautiful pass behind the Bayern defenders, then we could find ourselves in a who can outscore who type of situation, a battle of 2 great attacking teams. And just as Tuchel has a decision to make in PSG's midfield, Flick will have a decision to make for Bayern's back line. At this point, I almost prefer seeing Joshua Kimmich play in the midfield. He adds great cover to Bayern's defenders. He gives a little more freedom to Thiago, while Benjamin Pavard adds solidity in the fullback position. On top of that, do you play Boateng against PSG's attack or go for the Süle option? Considering Boateng went off injured with a knock, he might not even be fit, so perhaps Süle is the way to go, or they'll be forced into playing Süle anyways. I expect a great game between 2 teams that like to attack. You have the world's best striker in Robert Lewandowski, who just became the 2nd player to ever score 15 or more goals in the Champions League, behind Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. Who else? That was also Lewandowski's 55th goal in just his 46th match this season, which is ridiculous numbers. He was a bit unlucky against Lyon, but he got his goal in the end. The flanks will be interesting to watch as Juan Bernat takes on Gnabry and Thilo Kehrer. We'll have to deal with Perisic and Alphonso Davies, who basically plays as a second winger on that left flank for Bayern. He does have the pace to get back and defend, but I wouldn't be surprised if PSG plays Mbappe down the right side more often to try to exploit that, his roaming forward. And if they do, they still have to beat Manuel Neuer, who I have barely mentioned in this video, but he has had a fantastic season. He looks like he's back to something resembling his best. PSG could find some joy from set pieces as well. In Neymar and Di Maria, they have two masters of the dead ball. Bayern's back line, more than perhaps in any other match during these Champions League knockout games, will have to be at their absolute best to deal with the deliveries from both Neymar and Di Maria. This should be a tough test for Bayern, and of course, it could go either way. It's a cup final. But for my money, I'm going to have to stick with the team that I've been backing to win it all since about January, February or so, and say that Bayern Munich is my personal pick to be the champions of this very, very strange Champions League tournament. Justified winners if they pull it off, if you ask me. But what do you think of all this? Will PSG smash and grab their way to their first ever title in their first ever final? At the beginning of the video, you'll remember I said, for the fourth time in a European final, a German team will face off against a French team. And what I didn't say at the end was that a German team has won in the last 3 finals meetings consecutively. Will they do it again, or will PSG break it up? Whatever you think, do let me know in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this video, then drop a like. If you hated it, drop a dislike. My name's Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and we hope to see you during the Champions League watch-along stream right here on my channel during the final. Alright, take care guys.